What was it like when it was just God? God is the only being that is uncaused. He is the beginningless beginning and the endless end. He never has had a beginning. He has always existed. We know that from God, one of his attributes is aseity, which means he is self-existent. And this is very difficult to wrap our brains around. There's a lot that we can't understand about God, but when it was just him, it is it's difficult for us to imagine, but basically all of creation we know got that from Genesis 1:1 that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God created the earth, the universe, the spiritual dimension was also created. But before everything was created, it was just God. And so, what did this look like? Now, when we try to comprehend this, we maybe close our eyes and we think of just blackness. Well, when we think of just blackness, we are still thinking based upon what we know and what it has been created, because we know that God is timeless and spaceless. So when we just think of black is a color, and we're still thinking on the basis of space, because because blackness, obviously, when we look around, like when it's night, when it's black and pitch black out, there is still space to be involved. And so when it was just God, and we know from the Big Bang and second law of thermodynamics that the universe had a beginning, just as Scripture declares to us that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. All of time, space, matter, and energy came into being. But before then, it was just God. And God is timeless, spaceless, immaterial. And in understanding this, we come to find that when it was just God, it was just the invisibility and incorporeality of him. What did this look like? We can't think in the sense of blackness, nor can we just think of in the sense of just invisibility, because we don't even know exactly what just invisibility looks like. We can look across space, and we know that the space between where we are and what we're looking at, there is air, and air is invisible. And air obviously is active. It's what allows us to live, to breathe in and out, lest we would die immediately. But God's invisibility, there is a greater depth to his invisibility, because nothing exists without him, and that which is invisible to us is sustained by God. We know from Revelation 4:11 that by God's will things exist. So there is a different type of ineffable, invisible spiritual plane, so to speak, that when it is just God, we don't even really know exactly what that looks like. But we do know that when it was just God, there was no communication in the sense of speaking out, of words as we know it, because God's original language is silence. There was no need for him to shout across or to speak something out, because we know that he existed within himself. And we know that he is boundless. So this is another mind-bending thing, is before space and all that was created, it was just God, and God has no extension. He's spaceless, he's dimensionless, he is realmless. And so what that exactly looks like is basically, think of God, so to speak, in our ability to try and comprehend this, as just a dot. But that dot does not have a circumference. It is never ending. This is as close as we can try to comprehend. There was no such thing as location, as here, there, where, places. There was none of that existed when it was just God, because again, God is boundless and limitless, and he was everywhere at once, but yet nowhere at the same time. Simultaneously, he was everywhere and nowhere. He was within and without, and yet this boundless, limitless existence, we can't even call it a place, but existence of God, we can't even wrap our heads around, because our universe resides within the dimension, the space-time continuum, that is our universe, it resides within basically God. But and everything that is resides within God as it has been brought about by God, because we know from Acts 17:24 through 21 or 29, it declares that we live and move and have our being in God. We know from Ephesians, I believe it's 4:6 and 4:8, it says that God is in all, through all, above all, and beyond all. Even Romans declares this, and other places in Scripture. So everything resides within God, but God himself, there is no limit or boundaries, so to speak. So when it was just God in that beginningless state, his vocabulary was silence. He was not bound by anything. It was just him, and he existed within that ineffable, incorporeal existence that we can't even wrap our head around. So take time to meditate upon God's beginningless beginning, because that is exactly who he is. He is uncaused. He wasn't caused by anything. He lives in this unmoved, ineffable state by which all things are comprehended at once, and yet by his word he creates that which he has created, which he will eventually create, but at the same time he transcends time. He's the timeless and eternal one. And when it was just God, it was just God in this silent, beautiful state that wasn't even a state of all we can think of as black or invisible, because God transcends those very things, because he alone is the ineffable one.